Manjushri.
Hi, Derek. I think we have around 47 people here.
All right. Well, we just hit 50. That's a nice round number. So, first off, welcome everybody. You are here listening to us right now because you have accepted enrollment at the Jindal School of Psychology and Counseling. So, off the bat, welcome. We're really grateful to have you. I'm the dean of the school. I'm Dr. Derek Lindquist, and this is my colleague, the Associate Dean, Professor Manjushri. And I'll let you introduce yourself in just a moment. So this is the first session that we have planned as part of the pre-semester immersion. And the goal here is to really kind of give you an overview of the program. And, you know, it's the summertime, you may not have a lot going on, so we want to try to get you excited about what's coming up next. So tonight, we're going to be talking about the two programs, our bachelor's and our master's. Next week, you're going to come back and you're going to hear about the coursework that you'll be doing your first semester. So we'll have a course instructors come in and talk to you a little bit about what will the content be for each of those. After that, you're going to hear about some of the extracurricular activities. So this includes the internships, student mobility, community outreach, etc. And then our fourth and final week, we are going to bring in some of the students that will speak with you. So we'll have our student council as well as members of our student society called PSI, the Psychological Society Initiative. So to get us started, we will have a slight presentation, but you know, it's always nice to see faces. If any of you are willing and able to turn on your video camera, that would be great. We'd love to see you. Hi, Anya. Thank you very much. Hi, sir. I'm guessing you might be the father of a student. Hi, Reddy. Good to see you. Vandita, Sara, Shoria,
Victoria, right?
or Shia.
Yeah. She's engaging
Jerry,
in a team
Pratika.
practice right
It's
now.
nice to see you all.
Yeah. So I'm attending on her behalf. I'll let her know all the
Okay,
details later on. I'll share with her.
sure. Sounds good.
Right.
Parichi, Avantika. So it's nice to see you all. So let's start out with some introductions. So again, I'm Derek Lindquist. You might have guessed I'm not Indian. I'm actually from the US. So I moved to India about 7 years ago. And a year after I arrived, the school or the university rather decided to start a new school of psychology. So they asked myself and Manjushri to start up this new school. So it was about a year of development, and then we welcomed our first batch of students in 2021. It's gone remarkably well. We started out with a single program, BA Honors. 2023, we introduced the BSc Honors. And then this past year, we started our first master's program in counseling psychology. And looking forward, next year, we'll start up a PhD program and probably a couple of more PG programs as well. So my background, again, I'm from the US. I have a degree from Yale University in behavioral neuroscience, which basically means I'm interested in the brain and trying to understand how it relates to all these various psychological phenomena that we're interested in. So I did research in the US, neuroscience research, for about 20 years. And then in 2019, again, I was looking to do something different, and I ended up coming to India. And it's been a fantastic experience. Again, the school's great, colleagues are great, the students are great. So with that, I'll let my colleague here, Professor Manjushri, introduce herself.
Thank you, Derek. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Manjushri Palit. So I'm from Odisha. My background is in counseling psychology. So I have a master's in psychology, applied psychology, and then I did a postgraduate diploma in counseling psychology. And I did my PhD in human development, and my specialization is marriage and family therapy. And I got my PhD from Virginia Tech. I've been in JHU for 10 years, and I and Professor Derek, we are the founding faculty of JSPC. So it's been a good 5 years, and we are looking forward to having, extended cohort and continuing the good work that we are collaboratively doing. That is students, faculties, administrators, everybody together. So carrying that forward. And we would love to, we will welcome you to our new cohort, and looking forward to answering a lot of questions that you have today. And I hope you have some questions.
Yeah. All right, great, thanks. So just to start planning ahead, the school year will begin on August 3rd. You will get a notification from the registrar and others that will notify you of your arrival date, usually a few days before students will start arriving on campus. So the goal for today is to really kind of give you an overview of the various programs. Now, some of you might have attended. Manjushri and I actually did a overview a few weeks back where we talked about a lot of this information in detail. We did a Q&A after. So the goal today is really, again, to kind of review the program and some of the details surrounding it, and then to open it up. We're happy to take as much time as needed to address any and all questions or concerns that you may have. And so just at the outset, I do want to say that, again, we're not going to go into a great deal on, say, internships or student mobility, because you'll have an entire session devoted to that. Certainly, we can talk about it briefly, but the goal for today is really to talk about the curricula and any other issues related to the academics of what you will be undergoing as we move forward. So again, for those that turned on the cameras, thank you. It's great to see you. And for everybody else, welcome. Zed, you there?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, I am there.
All right, why don't you turn on your camera? So this is one of our managers of the school, and just like any organization, it's the managers that really run much of it. And so you all will get to know Zed very, very well. So would you like to do a brief introduction?
Hello, upcoming students. This is Zed from JSPC. In your academic journey, I am always with you, helping you in every step if you needed any help regarding your academic journey and your college life also. Thank you so much for that.
Great, thank you. All right, so I'm going to have you share your screen. Can you share the BA? So here's the plan, folks, is we'll go ahead and we'll do an introduction. We're going to talk about the BA, BSc. We're going to talk about some of the differences. And for the master's students out there, please bear with us. At the end of that, we'll talk about the PG program. And then my guess is we'll probably talk for about 20, 25 minutes. And then again, we'll simply open it up to any questions that anybody may have. So we'll start with the BA and then we'll go straight into the BSc. Okay? So for our undergraduate students, just to make this clear, you have all been admitted into the BA honors program, okay? Every single one of you. And you all, as a batch, will be together for the first year. And we've done this intentionally. There's a lot of overlap. There really was no reason to segregate our students the first year. We want you to take the same coursework. And it also gives you a chance as a batch to get to know one another. And obviously that collegiality, getting to know your fellow students, is a big part of college. And so we wanted all of our students to have that opportunity to engage. So the first semester for the BA will include Introduction to Psychology, Stress Management. Now, stress management is something we call a skill level course. We actually incorporated this our second year because, some students do struggle a bit, homesickness and other issues. For many students, it's the first time away from home for any extended period of time. But college is also, a lot of work, a lot of pressure. Sometimes it could be a little bit stressful. So we really want to try to provide some guidance, some methodology in terms to help you better manage that. Sticking with semester one, we have critical thinking and academic writing. Now, some of you may already be writers, and that's wonderful. But academic writing's a little different. It's not fiction, it's not poetry. It's really meant to be concise and to the point. And that's the goal here, is to really kind of open up those critical thinking skills and begin to develop some of your writing. And I am going to say right at the outset that this is an important skill to acquire. We all know that AI can write most anything now, but if you genuinely desire to have a career in psychology, at some point you have to be able to write yourself. Simply depending on the technology to do everything for you is not going to be sufficient. You can think of it like shallow knowledge versus deep knowledge. So we've really set up this curriculum in order to ensure that our students have a deep knowledge, a deep understanding of psychology. But it does take time. It does take effort. Again, to simply put everything on the technology, you could probably do pretty well as a student. I don't dispute that. And the technology is just going to get better and better. But at the end of the day, again, you need to understand these processes. You need to understand what we're talking about, what psychology is, and again, how to analyze it and be able to write it yourself. And you can't do that other than simply putting in the time and effort to develop those skills. So the other sort of flip side of that would be the stats. Now, understandably, a lot of students are not excited about statistics. To be clear, this is not the same as math. Math is different. Statistics is really based on the idea of probability. And so you will have 2 semesters of statistics, your first 2 semesters. Okay? Semester one, to finish up, we have development across the lifespan and cognitive psychology. In semester 2, we have environmental psychology, which some of you may not be familiar with. It's really kind of the context in which we find ourselves. That could be physical in terms of the physical space, but it could also be objects, people, other animals or organisms. It's just whatever is in your environment. Emotional intelligence is the second skill-based course. Again, being able to recognize and hopefully regulate your own emotional experiences is important. And then finally, we have social psychology. So everybody that's listening to me right now, at least all the UG students, again, this will be your coursework for the first academic year. Now, beginning of semester 3 is when we have a division. So we're now going to have BA versus BSc honors. And Manjushri is going to talk about that division a little bit more later. That decision will be made in semester 2. You then split the sections and you go on separate paths. So the BA students will be grouped together, the BSc students will be grouped together. And the reason we're raising this now is this is an important decision that every student will have to make. We try to prepare you as much as we can. We give you foreknowledge that once that decision is made, it cannot be undone. Okay, because once that decision is made, we then begin building all of the coursework, the sections, everything is based on that decision. So again, you have till, probably mid-March, end of March before you have to make that decision, but certainly something you'll want to start thinking about now. So the idea here is that the BA honors is meant to be a sort of more holistic understanding of psychology and a bit more focus on the social side as well as the treatment side. The BSc is meant to be more science-oriented, as you might guess, and we'll come back to that in a moment. So let me just quickly go through the BA. So in semester 3, we have educational psych, personality, research methods. Research methods, again, is important because you're going to learn how to think about developing and putting together a research project. Now, admittedly, not every student is interested in research, but we still want to provide that understanding so that you have the opportunity to take advantage. Everything we know in psychology, literally everything we know, has come out of research. So while you may not be interested in research yourself, the findings and our understanding of psychology is based on those that do. So it's important for us to have an understanding of that. With the BA, you're going to have 2 research methods course, research quantitative in semester 3 and research qualitative in semester 4. In semester 3, you also have what's called digital research tools. And this is just that, some research tools that you can utilize. Certainly there's some discussion of AI there, but it's also, so for instance, citation managers, using Word and Excel and other software that you'll come into contact with. Semester 4, we have brain and behavior, as well as the practicum. Now, the practicum is really designed to provide kind of a hands-on experience. And I didn't mention it, but you'll see that there's a practicum for the research methods quantitative in semester 3 as well. So the idea is you learn about the theory in class, and then you go into the practicum, and there's where you try to apply it. So it's meant to be much more practical in its outreach and its organization to, again, allow you to kind of apply these ideas and findings to real-world scenarios. Beyond that, we have forensic and criminal psychology, the research methods qualitative, and the practicum associated with that. Now, if you don't know quantitative versus qualitative, that's perfectly okay. Quantitative is more empirical. Qualitative is more like doing an interview, for instance. So again, you'll learn all about that as you go forward. Semester 5, we have counseling psychology in the practicum, cross-cultural psychology, and psychometrics 1, psychometrics 2 in semester 6. Psychometrics is really the sort of numerical, the data-driven side of psychology. It's an important course. We've divided it across 2 semesters because most students really like it, but we found that including all of it in one semester was a little bit much. So we've broken it up and made it into a 2-semester course. In semester 6, we have clinical psych and then the IO psychology as well as the practicum. In semester 7, you have contemporary issues in psychology, professional development and ethics, and then in semester 8, you have the essay paper. So that will finish it out. Zed, if you could go to the BSc now. And I do want to introduce this up at the top. I'll come back and tell you a little bit more about some of the information there. So for the BSc, you'll see semester 1 and semester 2 are identical. As we move down into semester 3 and 4, here's where we start to see the divergence. So semester 3 for the BSc, and again, BSc is more science focused. A lot of this in case of neuroscience, health psychology, etc. So in semester 3, you have what's called psychophysics, which is really an understanding of how we sense and perceive the world. Evolutionary psychology, which is essentially looking at these ideas and principles in psychology, but looking at it from an evolutionary perspective. Why do we interact as groups the way we do? How is our maturation affected based on the groups that we grow up on? And how is that evolutionary past influencing all of this? The research methods quantitative is the same in the practicum. Semester 4, we have neuroscience as well as the practicum. Forensic and criminal, health, psychology, and behavioral medicine. And this is a big area of psychology, trying to help those individuals that, for instance, may have a terminal illness, for instance. The digital research tools is for the BSc is 1 semester later, semester 4. Neurophysiology and pharmacology, so a little bit more about the brain. Clinical psychology, psychometrics 1 and 2. In semester 6, we have counseling psychology and the practicum, and then the biological bases of psychological disorders. And that's really looking at, as we used to call it, abnormal psychology, but we're looking at it from a more brain-based or neuroscience perspective. And then once again, in semester 7 and 8, we have the contemporary issues in psychology, the ethics, and the psychology essay paper. All right, so what you'll see here is that for these 2 degrees, there's 6 courses between them that differ. So again, if the health psychology, if the neuroscience interests you, then you'd want to go the BSc route. And let's start here. I'm sorry, can you zoom back up, Zed? I don't want to do this just yet. All the way up to the top. All right. So for every student out there, in 4 years, you're going to need 196 credits to graduate. Okay. Now, of those, we have varying core courses, up to about 80 credits. These core courses are required from every student in order to graduate. Now, as we just saw, there are some distinctions between BA and BSc, but those core courses are core. They're foundational. There's a course that every student must take. And the goal here, what we've done as a school, is this really does cover the vast majority of what psychology is in 2026. Our goal here is to ensure that our students have a robust understanding of psychology and all of its components. Beyond the core courses, we have the skill-based courses. So that's the stress management, EI, etc. The practicum courses that are tied to the theory. Now, here's where it begins to differ. For both the BA and the BSc, you will also have elective courses that you will take. Now, I assume most of you are familiar with the NEP, right? That was the National Education Policy 2020, which moved from a 3-year degree to a 4-year degree. And one of the big reasons for that was they wanted a more holistic educational experience for the students. That is, to be able to take coursework outside of your specific major or field of study. So for our students, you are required to take 8 psychology elective classes, okay? Now, our school has elective courses. We also have a sister component. They're the Jindal Institute of Behavioral Sciences, who also offer elective courses. So there's anywhere from probably 8 to 20 elective courses that are offered every semester in psychology. And you get to pick and choose between those. We have positive psychology. We have sports psychology. One of the really popular ones that our school offers is the psychology of serial killers. So again, there's lots to choose from, and the idea is that you get to choose the elective course that appeals to you. Now, I do want to forewarn you, a lot of students get upset because they say, in semester 2, I wanted to sign up for this course, but it was full. I could not take it. Well, the more popular courses do fill up quick. Only 40 students are allowed in an elective course. So if you're not able to get it the first semester, hopefully that course will be offered in a subsequent semester, and you'll be able to take it at that point. But all electives are first come, first serve based on the bidding that students will do. Excuse me. All right, now outside of psychology, we also have what we call cross-listed electives. And these are offered by all the other schools. We have 11 additional schools at JGU. So this is everything from law and business to international affairs, global politics, liberal arts and humanities, journalism, etc. So if you want to take a business class or a language class or a philosophy class, again, those options are available to you to do so. So as we were going through this, you'll see where we say cross-listed elective 1 and 2 or school-specific elective 1 and 2. This is telling you how many electives you need to take in each of those semesters. It's a little more complicated than that. We don't need to get into too many of the details. We will have an orientation your second week once you join, and we're happy to talk about this more as well. But for now, just understand that these electives are courses that you pick based on your interest. It gives you a chance to tailor your academic experience based on what you want to learn. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned is JGU is heavily involved in online teaching as well. JSPC actually started an online degree this past fall. Is growing and doing very well. But as a result, we now have all these JGU online classes that we offer. And one of the courses that all students will be expected to take somewhere in your 8 semesters is an online environmental course. Fairly simple. You go onto Coursera, you sign up for it. It doesn't take too long, and you get 4 credits as a result. Beyond that, internships are really important for our students. An internship is where you go out into the community and you work alongside a psychology professional. And so this could be a hospital, it could be a business, it could be a mental health center. At the university, we have quite a few of these, more than 80 organizations that we have an MOU with. So you're certainly welcome to pick one of the ones that we offer. But we also understand that we have students joining from all over India. And in fact, we have some international as well. And so those opportunities may not exist in your hometown. So if you go home for the break to Hyderabad or Chennai and you say, I want to do an internship, you can seek out and find your own internship opportunity. Okay, we call this self-initiated. Now, you would have to send that information to us. We vet it, ensure that it's an actual internship and it meets our requirements. But assuming it does, then you can do that internship in your hometown. This is really important. And when we talk to our students that have gone through this program, internships is one of the things that they like the most. Really going out and getting that hands-on experience is something that students typically enjoy. So across the 4 years, you are required to do 3 internships. Each of them are worth 2 credits, so a total of 6. Okay? Now, one of the things that we have introduced with your batch, we have not done this previously, is that we're now adding in a minimum of 2 credits based on what we're calling extracurricular. And again, we'll talk about this more at the orientation. This could be doing one of the online courses through Coursera. We also have what's called industry certification. So you study something and then you get certified at the end of it based on different industries. And then there are what we call short-term study abroad programs. So this would say, for instance, during the summer, you want to go abroad and do a 2 or 3 week program. So JGU has these programs right now with dozens of universities, including Harvard University, Oxford University, and others. So if you do a short-term study abroad, so the Harvard JGU summer program, for instance, you can get up to 4.5 credits, and those credits would then apply towards your graduation, which would mean it reduces the number of elective credits you have to take slightly. So again, we're happy to answer any questions you have on this as we go forward. The last part I want to mention here, the other part that's really important I want you to keep in mind is also part of the NEP is that we have a new research pathway that is available. This research pathway will be the same for BA, BSc, so it's going to be the same on both of these. So Zed, you can just scroll down if you would, all the way to the bottom. Now here's the idea, is in order to do a research project, a dissertation, you can go ahead and scroll all the way down, please. In order to do the dissertation your final year, we, just a little bit up so we can see semester 5 through 8, we are going to monitor your academic progress. So in order to do a dissertation at the conclusion of semester 5, you must have a minimum CGPA of 7.0 out of 8.0. Okay, that's how we do our CGPA here, is the maximum is 8. So you have to have a minimum of 7.0 at the end of semester 5. In semester 6, if you meet that criterion, you then have the opportunity to apply to do a dissertation. It's not guaranteed. There's some regulations, but you can apply for it. Most of the students do get through. If you are able to do a dissertation, what that means is in your final academic year, you are going to design, run, analyze, and write up a research study of your own. And so you can see the coursework here, the dissertation, the practice, or excuse me, the practicum, advanced methods, ethics, and the research communication. So you will be doing this under the guidance of a faculty member, and it's really a great opportunity, again, for those that want to take advantage of this opportunity. Now, not every student wants to do this, and that's okay, but for those that do, this really looks good on your CV, it looks good on your transcript, and ultimately it's going to be beneficial based on what you want to do next. And just real briefly, what that means is based on the NEP, up until 2027, most of the master's programs in India are 2 years in duration. We're now seeing that change slightly. A lot of them are moving towards a 1 year. And the idea there is that we went from a 3 to a 4 year undergraduate program. So they've reduced the master's from 2 years to 1 year. Okay. So if you do not do the dissertation, if you just graduate, you can do a 1 year master's, and then you can go into a PhD program if you choose to do so. If you complete the dissertation, you no longer must do a 1 year master's. You can go directly into a PhD program here in India. So it would save you that additional year. Now, even if you say, well, I don't really care about that, if you want to be competitive, doing a dissertation, having this on your transcript and your CV again looks really good. It will make you highly competitive. But I want to, again, emphasize that you have to maintain that academic threshold. And so for all the students out there, the PG students know this, but for the UG, you need to keep in mind, coming to this campus is going to be fun. It's exciting. It's a big campus. There's all this stuff going on. Academics may not seem that important, but it is, because the GPA that you establish in your first 2 semesters is going to have a big impact on the CGPA that you graduate with. And to make that more clear, if in semester 1 you get a 6.0, semester 2 you get a 4.0, you average those together at the end of semester 2, you now have a 5.0 CGPA. You go into semester 3, at the end of that, you now adjust or you move your CGPA by 1/3. At the end of semester 4, it moves by 1/4, and then 1/5, 1/6, 1/7, 1/8. As you go forward over the 4 years, it becomes more and more difficult to make significant adjustments or changes in your CGPA. So if you're looking at this and saying, I want to do that dissertation, again, you need to come in and ensure that you study hard and you do well your first 2 semesters. And then at the end of that, you will have the option to choose. All right, so this is a brief overview of the 2 different undergraduate programs that we have. I'm now going to turn it over to Manjushri, because thinking about which of those degrees you want to pursue, again, is really important. And we will come back and talk about this multiple times over the next 2 semesters. But it's good to get you thinking about it right now. So, Zed, we can go to the brochure, and Manjushri, I'll let you take over.
Thanks, Derek. Hi, everybody again. I think you got a very comprehensive understanding of your curriculum, at least the undergraduate curriculum, BA and BSc. So I'll talk a little bit about, a question that comes up oftentimes among students as well as among parents, is that what should we choose, particularly BA or BSc? So if I just ask, how many of you have thought about a BA or a BSc degree? This is oftentimes a very common conversation that happens. And it's a good question that you need to know and be prepared to, decide what you want to do, because it really shapes your career options as well. But having said that, the BA and BSc degree are very equivalent. So if you have heard about the background that Professor Derek mentioned and I mentioned, we both have a BA degree, but we have quite a diversity in our work, in our area of specialization. He's from neuroscience, I'm from counseling psychology. So what I would like to focus particularly on is the difference between BA and BSc. So if you have closely looked at the curriculum, you could very clearly see that your BA degree primarily focused on the socio-cultural and psychological dimensions. And so it will take a lens from your socio-cultural perspectives towards psychology, and how does it apply to personal as well, interpersonal, as well as organizational setups.
All right, Manjushri, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Zed, can you increase the magnification slightly? It's a little hard to read.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So it will give you an understanding, again, of human behavior, but from a very socio-cultural lens. Now, if you looked at some of the, particularly the courses that were listed in BSc Psychology. Again, it gave you a well-rounded understanding about psychology from different perspectives, but the focus here primarily comes from health, medicine, neuroscience, evolutionary perspective, even a more, what I could also say, a very scientific, objective, and a biological-based approach. Okay, so if you are somebody who's interested in going ahead in cognitive neuroscience, cognitive science, maybe you want to be a health professional and you want to work in these areas, that is the a BSc would be a good trajectory for you. But having said that, both BA and BSc are equally competitive and provide you that basic foundation in an undergraduate degree to pursue any field of choice that you have. So it will not limit your growth, but it will also provide you with enormous amount of opportunities. And it will also give you very specialized opportunities as well. Like I said, BA and BSc based on the courses that you have selected. So overall, it is something that you should think about, not only just after the semester or end of semester one, but you should be thinking about it from day one when you are taking courses as well. And see how, you are engaging in classes, how the concepts make sense to you, and how you process them. If you are able to focus on these, you can actually make a decision on which trajectory you want to take, so BA or BSc. So make that logical decision as your pathway to deciding whether you want to do BA or BSc. And obviously you will make a choice and make a selection, and that you cannot go back on that decision. So if you are somebody who hates stats, who hates reading about physiological psychology, then BSc is not for you. Am I clear on this part? Okay. I think I will move ahead. Derek, I don't think I have any more reflections on this.
Yeah, again, I think that's good. If I can just say one thing. So, again, we've offered this for 2 years now. We've had a lot of conversations with students and parents, and there is a bias that many parents have that is sort of induced into their son or daughter that BSc is just naturally better. I think what Manjushri and I are trying to say here is that's simply not true. Again, BA, BSc honors are equally valid. The opportunities are equally good. It really comes down to, again, which of those courses, which of those programs interests you most. Because at the end of the day, when you graduate, if you want to go on for postgraduate or a PhD study, the biggest determinant of how successful you will be your CGPA.
Yes.
So if you say, well, I think BSc is actually better, and then you do poor academically, you've hurt yourself much worse than if you had just stuck with the BA altogether. So again, I want to push back. There really is no benefit. Other than if you say, I want to do neuroscience, and sure, taking the BSc would probably be an advantage because you have all those neuroscience courses on your transcript. But beyond that, if it's just, I'm not sure, I know I want to do something in psychology, counseling, or clinical, and clinical specifically, because RCI is something we get asked about a lot, there is no requirement. A BA or a BSc is equally valuable for going on to study clinical psychology. So again, we can certainly address that and talk more. But before the PG students fall asleep, let's bring them back to life and talk about the master's program.
Yes. Okay, so this information is definitely for the MSc program in counseling psychology for our PG students. So as you can see, so before I explain in detail about the program, let me tell you that the curriculum focuses primarily on a scientist practitioner model. So you might ask, what is a scientist practitioner model? A scientist practitioner model focuses more on empirical based psychotherapy research, which is used particularly in clients' well-being, in mental health, and also in clinical practices. So that is the scientific part. So therapists can also be researchers. They participate in various scientific projects pertaining to the counseling processes and to treatment and outcomes as well. So this curriculum will prepare you as a scientist, introduce you to all the theoretical approaches. It will introduce you to the therapeutic models, but also introduce you to the research that backs up these theoretical approaches as well. And I'm going to explain a bit about the practitioner part as well. So the focus here is not only just to give you the theoretical information, but also prepare you for practicing as a clinician or a practitioner. So therefore, you will have courses that train you, help you to apply those counseling skills, understand the challenges, the predicaments that you might experience in this field, the field work, supervision, and how to work with different populations. So that is the practitioner part. So at the end of this course, which is a 2-year course and 4 semesters, you will move from a beginning level introduction to the counseling psychology, processes, courses, and then to move to an advanced level where by the time you graduate, you should be able to practice as a clinician. So let me just then give you an idea that in the course of 4 semesters, you will be completing around 92 credits. Now, in this, I'll go to the core courses, but let me tell you, you will be completing around 14 core courses, and you will have practicums. Practicums are primarily where you will apply the constructs that you have learned. And there in counseling psychology practicums, oftentimes you will see yourself, practicing skills that you have learned, practicing models that you have learned, and also you would be working more in terms of with your cohort, your group, practicing the skills that you've learned through role play. Even in video presentations, you will be also thinking about how to apply these concepts in case discussions. Then you will have field work. Here, field work essentially means how to work in the community, how to work with the population. So you will get introduced to field work in this course. I'll explain more in detail as I go through the curriculums from semesters. Then you will also have the opportunity of, doing a dissertation or a capstone course. So dissertations are not necessarily compulsory for everybody. You can choose to do a dissertation on a specific topic of interest under the supervision of your guide, or else you can do a capstone project. And you will also have the option of doing one cross-listed elective. And I'll explain why we have limited choices of cross-listed electives here, and we can answer more questions if you have any. Now, internships are definitely mandatory for counseling psychologists, and you will be doing 3 internships of 12 credits. So basically, as the incoming batch of 2026, your fall 2026, the winter internships, summer internships, and the next fall, you'll be doing internships specifically in the domain area of counseling. You can choose areas where, you're working with special population as well, but however, predominantly your work has to be in counseling psychology. As we proceed in the first semester, so you get introduced to something which is the basic counseling skills. Here, you will learn what it means to, enter into the field of counseling, what are the challenges, common problems experienced by counselors, and what skills are essentially needed. Along with that, you also get introduced to approaches to psychotherapy. Now, as you see, semester 1 and semester 2, you will have both counseling skills 1, and semester 2, you will have counseling skills 2. And you will also have semester 1 approaches to psychotherapy, and you will again have them in semester 2. Now, the difference between these is that in the beginning, in semester 1, you get basic information, and then you will move to the advanced level knowledge. So counseling skills, there are several. There are simple as well as more complicated skills that you will learn, which will come in semester 2. Similarly, in approaches to psychotherapy, there are very basic models. Now, over a period of several years, these models have evolved. So there will be first generation models that you will learn in semester 1, and in semester 2, you are going to learn higher order models or third generation models that has been evolved. You will also learn about human development across the lifespan, specifically in semester 1, because if you see, counseling psychology as a profession means that you're working with people at different developmental stages. And each of these developmental stages play out a part in our overall growth, mental health, and well-being. So having that understanding and situating people in that context is very important. So therefore, you will, even if you have had, developmental psychology in your undergraduate level, here you would have more in-depth understanding about, lifespan development. Then you will also be introduced to research methods. So remember, this is a scientist practitioner model. So you will learn to conduct research. You will have a basic understanding of research, even if you don't do a dissertation. So research methods, and the next course will be on ethics. So ethics is a very important component in counseling practices, and discussions about, relationships, ethical dimensions that have to be taken, ethical challenges that are experienced will be also explored in semester 1. We move to semester 2. As you will see, you will also get introduced to psychopathology, which is basically adjustment disorders, mental disorders that a person, even educational challenges that a person can experience. These are some of the topics that are covered in Psychopathology 1. And in semester 3, you will see you will be introduced to Psychopathology 2. So again, more simple understanding about psychopathology, even the theoretical, approaches that define psychopathology are introduced in the semester 2, and more advanced knowledge will be there in semester 3. As you move further, you will have, particularly in semester 2, you will have qualitative methods and mixed methodology together, and you will have something we call as readiness for practice. So here you will have your initial understanding of how to work in a field. And when we are talking about field work here, we're talking about particularly 3 different spaces where you are going to explore counseling. One is the
Two,
two.
Madrid.
Yeah. So particularly one is our on-campus counseling processes, where you will be introduced to in-person as well as online counseling. And the other is the community, where you will be working in our community partners, particularly the schools, where you will be under the supervision and also under the rules and guidelines of those schools or community partners, but you will be providing counseling services. So therefore, field work would entail you going one day of the week, and you will be working in those community or on campus during that time. In this, you are actually applying what you have learned. You are already prepared because you've already had your practicum courses where you have practiced those skills. So now you will to take them in outside your comfort zones of, of practicum classes and apply them in the field work. You will also have supervised practicum. Now, along with field work placement, you will have supervised practicum in semester 3, which means essentially when you are seeing clients, you are also getting supervision about those cases. So you will be working in small cohorts with a supervisor who will guide you in working on those cases. Okay. So in semester 3, as you see, the Psychopathology 2 is a course that you will receive much more advanced understanding of psychopathology. You will get psychological assessment, which will not be as similar to clinical psychology, but here psychological assessments which are essential for counseling psychologists. So you will be introduced to those assessment tools, whether it is substance abuse, whether it is suicide assessment, whether it is, Beck's inventory, you will get an assessment battery. You will also get an understanding of how to apply them and whom to apply it with. As we move to semester 3 again, I'm going to talk a little bit about reflective practice and
Well,
self-care.
actually, I think we don't need quite as much detail, Manjushri. We're running a little low. I want to make sure we can get into the questions.
Okay, sure.
Again, the PG students will also have an orientation where we can talk about the coursework in more detail. But
Sure.
right now, I just want to be sure we can answer all the questions.
Okay, sure. So we just quickly move to semester 4, where you will have a course called Multicultural Counseling. Again, those of you who are taking dissertation in semester 3 will have another, in semester 4 will continue your work in dissertation or capstone. You will have in both 3 and 4 reflective practices and self-care, which focuses primarily on the well-being of the therapist. And you will also have supervised practicum in both, along with fieldwork placement and an opportunity to take a cross elective. This is briefly, it summarizes what you're going to do in the 4 semesters. I think we'll stop here and
Well, actually, you want to mention briefly the internship as well? 3
Yeah.
internships.
Yeah. So I did mention in the beginning also. So there is 3 internships that you will be doing over the course of your degree. And all of the 3 internships have to be counseling related. Now, there are certain organizations with whom JGU has partnership and JSPC has partnership. So either you could choose from those, or you could do a self-initiated internship, but which has to be approved by and which should fit the requirement of the counseling internship that is required for your degree. So they have to be approved as well.
Yeah, they're meant to be much more in depth. So the minimum internship for the PG students is 100 hours per break.
Yes, it's a very intense internship. So much more than an undergraduate, the PG will be a very in-depth internships.
All right, great. Thank you. So we can do this 2 ways. Zed, I'm going to have you help us with the chat box. You can read those off. And then for the rest of you, if you have a question, you can raise your digital hand and we'll just go in order.
Derek, I can see the question. Do you want me to read it out?
Sure. I just saw it as well.
Okay. So the first question is from Shaurya. Can you please suggest where do sports psychology fits in?
Sure, I can answer that. So sports psychology is certainly a growing field in psychology, one that we've heard more and more interest from our students. So right now, JSPC, we do not have a sports psychologist on our faculty, something I've been looking for several years now, but there's not a lot of them out there. But sports psychology is really the taking the ideas of psychology and applying them to, say, sports practice, right? How can we make this more effective? It can also be on the medical side. So if I get hit in the head, how do I understand and diagnose a concussion, for instance? So right now, again, the JIBS that I mentioned earlier does have a sports psychology elective that they offer. And my guess is that we will add more of those as we go forward. And hopefully we'll be able to find a sports psychologist that we can bring into the school as well.
Can I ask a supportive question, if you don't mind?
Well, actually, sir, if we could, if you want to we'll kind of go in order. So we've already got some hands up.
Derek, Shaurya is the person whose question I read it. So it's a...
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's a follow-up. Okay, then certainly, sir, go ahead.
Please. The question was in the context whether BA psychology will be better in that case for sports psychologist or BSc. Regarding, can you spoke? Is it BA psychology will be better or BSc will be better if Shaurya wants to become a sports psychologist? The trajectory that I'm asking about.
Yeah, again, I don't think it would matter particularly, to be honest. If she wanted to go more towards the biological side, And again, I can give you an example. So I have a colleague back home. He works for a company where they do what's called a pre-post test. At the beginning of each season, they work with football players. They come in, they give them a cognitive assessment. It gives you your baseline. And then if any of the players get hit in the head, they then have a follow-up and they have them do it again. And they can assess from that if they have working memory impairments or attention impairments, etc. So if she was more interested in the biological side of the equation, then certainly the BSc would probably be better. But there is still a lot of sports psychology that's not biologically bound. So again, and I think this is a general question we can add for everybody. It's not really a question of, is it the BA or the BSc that's better for my chosen domain? It's how do I prepare for what comes next? So again, whether you do BA or BSc, as I said at the outset, the most important factor by far is the CGPA, right? That's what is going to have the biggest impact among anything. Beyond that, they're going to look at the transcript. Our students have a really strong transcript. We can feel confident in that. They're going to look at the student's CV. They're going to have some internships, but anything else that they can do. So if your daughter wanted to go out and find an internship where she can work alongside a sports psychologist, great. That's going to certainly increase her odds as well. But I don't think it's as simple as is the BA or the BSc. Which one of those is better? Again, it really comes down to what does she want to do with respect to sports psychology.
Derek, I would like to add an example in this case. I had a colleague who, a student who worked under us as an intern, and she had a master's degree in mental health. And then from UK, and then she went for a PhD in sports psychology in Europe. So if you see, we're talking about the same thing, that whether a BA or a BSc, you can still do sports psychology PhD.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Let's go to in-person. Srishti, you have a question? And if you want to turn on your cameras, you're welcome to.
Yeah, I had this question that if I get the required 7 out of 8 CGPA till semester 5, so will my entry into the dissertation path in the 4th year be guaranteed?
No, it's not guaranteed. It's very likely, but there is a process. So you would have to come up with a proposal. You would say, this is what I want to do for my dissertation. We will give you guidance in terms of what is a good proposal and what is not. But, we got to ensure that you have put a little thought and effort into it. Once you do, then most likely you would be approved. This past batch, for instance, every student that made a proposal was accepted, but we can't guarantee there is a formal process in place. But again, my guess is if you've done well academically, you have a good idea for a research project, there won't be any issue at all.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pritika, I think.
Well, how about we go back and forth? So here's this question is for you, Manjushri. Are internships mandatory during the first year as well? You went on mute.
Derek, we missed 2 more questions before that.
Oh, did I? My bad. I'm so sorry.
There's a question by Astha Damra. What kind of electives are available to PG students? Can you give some examples? Astha, there is electives, a wide variety of electives that are offered from different schools. Schools of JHU. So, say for example, somebody who's working towards being a counseling psychologist, but want to work in the area of want to work with victims, so they could have an options of taking victimology as an elective. If you want to work and you particularly in the criminal justice system or with the courts, then having an understanding of family courts or the processes or POCSO, that can be important for you. So there is an option. So wide variety of options that is there. So you can choose accordingly. And also, this is something that everybody has to understand. It depends on the electives that are offered that semester. So you will choose from those.
And for the UG students, if you're wondering why can't we take an elective the first semester, that's because the bidding process for the first semester is already completed. So that's typically done at the end of the prior semester. So the first opportunity you will have to bid for an elective will be for semester 2. And typically we have somewhere around 300 or 400 electives that are offered each semester across the university.
Okay.
Next question. Can we continue our PhD at JGU if we complete our research paper here? Potentially. Kavya, I'm guessing you're a master's student. So again, we will be starting the PhD next year, but we will be starting small. Probably 3 to 4 students is all. So you would, of course, if you're just joining now and you do a 2-year master's, it would be 2 years until you are eligible. But certainly, any of our students are welcome to apply for the PhD program as well once we start it. All right. Pritika, you got a question?
Yes, good evening.
Hi.
So, hello. So my question was that I am planning to do forensic psychology as my chosen field. So I had 2 questions. First was, what kind of internships do you have for, let's say, forensic psychology? Or will the internships that I do have not much to do with forensic psychology as a field?
So let me start with another point. I love the fact that you come in and you say you know what you want to do, and that's great. I would say one of the things I really encourage our students to do is to come in with an open mind. You're going to be exposed to a lot of psychology, and something may kind of stick out. You go, oh my God, social psychology, I just love this. Clinical psychology, I love this. So a lot of our students come in and they say, this is what I want to do, but they end up changing their mind partway through. That's okay. That is exactly what we want. We want to expose our students to the information so they can make an informed decision in terms of what comes next. Now, in terms of internship opportunities, we do have at least 4 or 5 that I'm aware of, mostly with various governmental offices, including some police stations. I think there's one prison in there as well. But I know from talking to our students, because forensic is very, very popular, a lot of them have also done the self-initiated. That is, again, they go back home to their hometown and they say, there's a lawyer I want to work with, or a judge, or whoever it is. And, I think this would be a valuable experience. And again, if you can lay out the groundwork for that and we can vet it, then that opportunity will avail itself for you. So it's a big field. There's lots of opportunities there. Again, whether you want to work on the judicial side or the legal side or the police side. And so we do have some opportunities. I will be honest, I wish we had more. That is one thing that we are still working on. Those are a little harder to come by than working at a hospital, for instance. But we do have those opportunities available for the students who want to pursue them.
Another question that I had was, you said that we could do around, I think, minors in different other schools. Like, even if we have a major in psychology, we can do a minor if we get a certain number of credits in another school, right?
Correct. So you were here for the last meeting as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question, I don't know if
Well,
I
if I
asked it
could, just
last
real
time.
quick, so for those that don't understand, so with the electives that we talked about, the cross-listed, there are various schools that come and say, if you take these 6 courses for 24 credits from us, when you graduate, you'll get your school degree, but we'll also give you a minor certificate. So for instance, Pritika, you could graduate with a BA or a BSc honors from JSPC, and then a minor certificate in international affairs or journalism or what have you. So that's the idea of the minor that she's referring to. So what's your question?
My question is, I get it that doing a minor is very difficult and time consuming, but this is a hypothetical question. Are you allowed to do more than one minor, or is there a limit?
No, yeah, you wouldn't have the time ability. And to be clear here, it's not additional work. So you are already doing those cross-listed electives, right? You have to complete those cross-listed electives in order to graduate. But you could do 10 electives from 10 different schools if you wanted. That's your option, that's your choice. Or you say, no, I really like journalism. I want a minor certificate. So of those 10 courses, I'm going to take 6 specifically from journalism. Okay. And it's not any 6 random courses. You would have to go onto the JC, that's a journalism school, their website, and somewhere on there, they're going to say minor program. You have to take these 6 courses. Okay. So any student apart from JSPC, if they want a minor certificate from our school, right, they have to take intro, social, and brain and behavior, and then 3 of our school electives. If they complete those 6 courses for 24 credit, then they get a minor certificate. But again, it's not additional work. It's just making that decision up front before you, right, take 8 electives and then decide I want to do a minor. You probably would not be able to at that point because there's not enough time and not enough credits left. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Last one tiny question is that
Sure.
our internships that we have, we are supposed to do, I think, 5 internships over 7 breaks.
3 internships over the 4 years.
3 internships?
Yes, minimum. Now you are welcome to do more. We have
Yeah.
some students that do an internship every single break. There's some students actually have done 2 in a single break. So the more you have, the more you can put on your CV, and that makes you a stronger contender for PG or PhD programs. But in
So
terms of school requirements, it's 3 internships.
so we can start internships from this year, December itself? December,
Correct.
Jan break?
The first internship that you can do would be for the winter break.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And you'll get more information. So we have what's called the Office of Career Services who runs this. So when we have our orientation the second week, they'll come in and speak to you about the process as well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are internships mandatory? I think we just talked about that. Iram, when you get the dissertation, can you also apply to foreign countries for PhD, or would you have to go into masters? That's a good question. So right now we have had 2 of our batches graduate, and around 60% have gone on for PG studies. About of that, maybe 30%, meaning 30% of the 60%, have gone for international. By far the most popular destination is UK. A UK master's is usually 1 year. So that's your option. If you wanted to go North America to Canada or US, it's actually normal in those places where you don't even do a master's, you simply apply for the PhD program. So what we were referring to in terms of the 1 year master's versus completing a dissertation and then going straight into the PhD, that's specific to the Indian context. And I hope that answered your question. Anything to add, Manjushri?
No, I think also even if you plan to do masters in India, I mean, none of these will, because you're doing a 4-year degree program according to NEP, you are eligible to apply for PhD programs in universities, particularly who are keen to take PhD PhD students. So therefore, it doesn't affect your eligibility. I think
I think we're good.
Yeah, the next question is very relevant. This is also for master's program. Ridhi's question is, in terms of learning outcomes and career prospects, would a capstone project be better or dissertation? Again, Ridhi, it is tied to your future trajectory. So if you want to be a practitioner, a clinician, then doing a capstone is also acceptable, and it's a good opportunity to do that. You can also do a dissertation as well, even if you want to be a clinician. But if you want to be an academician or you want to carry on in the pathway of PhD, then doing a dissertation would give you the skill sets, the understanding of that field or area, and it would enable you to do a PhD and clear your pathways in that regard. So I think both capstone and dissertation are good options. Capstone, if you want to only be a clinician and you don't want to take a trajectory or an academic trajectory, then you can do a capstone. And I think both.
Yeah, and ready. No, please finish your thought, Manjush.
I think one has to keep in mind that both, whether you are doing research paper, capstone, or a dissertation, any of them can be publishable. And having a publishable paper which is peer reviewed, good in a good quality journal which is published, which gives you that edge. Okay.
Yeah, and we just began the master's last year. So we originally had planned to have only the dissertation. We had some pushback. Some students said, I'm not really interested in research. I just want to get my degree in practice. So that's why we introduced the capstone, which is meant to be more practical in nature, right? So here's some scenario, right? How do I come up with the best learning strategies for autistic children, for instance, right? That's the whole point there. It's a little more practical, a little more applied in terms of how you approach it. All right, thank you. Kushi, is it beneficial to do a research paper in your first year? Well, Kushi, I'm not sure if you're UG or PG, but in both cases, I would say possible, but I would not encourage it for your first year, particularly if you're an undergraduate. Your first year is all about learning how to be a college student. You're going to find out it's not the same as high school. We are a residential program. You will have classes from 9 a.m. all the way up until 9:50 p.m. at night. Your schedule varies from day to day. 24 credits may not seem like a lot, but it is a lot. You have to really, buckle down and put in the time and effort to succeed. And so learning how to be a college student, learning how to balance all your responsibilities, time management, the social development of engaging with your peers. There's a lot happening in your first year. So are there opportunities to do research? There are. All of our faculty are research active. So if you find a faculty member like Manjushri, you say, well, intimate partner violence is really interesting to me. I'd really like to talk to you. Sure, you can have that conversation. It's up to the professor whether to proceed or not. You could actually do some research with her. You could do a paper with her. There's lots of options and opportunities available for our students. But again, I would strongly encourage you to wait until at least your second year to pursue that. And then at the end of the day, as Manjushri was just saying, having a paper, a publication on your CV, particularly for an undergraduate, will look pretty darn good. That's really going to elevate your chances for whatever comes next. But at the end of the day, again, you need to be able to successfully do and complete your academics and all that's required there before you start taking on additional workload. And I would even say that's true beyond that. You're going to hear about some of the student clubs and societies and other things that we have. And that's great. I highly encourage our students to be active, right? Do extracurricular, but don't overburden yourself your first semester. Really, you just don't want to take on too many obligations until you get your feet under you and you really understand, again, how to be successful as a college student. And for most of our students, it takes at least a semester or two before they really feel competent in understanding what they're doing. All right, hope that answers. Aishwarya, yes, you
Yeah.
can turn on
Hello.
your mic or camera.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, hi. Yeah,
Hi.
you're a little low, but we can hear you.
Yeah. So I had a question regarding the research. So I am going to start my postgrad. I had a question regarding the research, how you can do research or the capstone, whatever that was. So I was wondering, how there's like the prerequisite for the undergrad students that they have to have at least 7 CGPA, if I'm not wrong. So I was wondering, do we have the prerequisite as well, or how does that work?
You will not. So the prerequisite for the undergraduate is based on the national education policy.
Yeah.
For us, all of our students for the 2-year program, the dissertation slash capstone is mandatory.
Okay.
Students will not have the option of choosing it. You are mandated to complete it, right?
Okay, cool.
And again, the research is just that. It's a research project that you'll do during your final year versus a capstone, which is more of a kind of like a review paper, if you will. Again, you have sort of an idea of here's a scenario, here's a situation, here's a population I would like to work with, and here's how I think that could be effectively managed.
Okay, cool. I had another question. With the research, do you get like the assistant of your professors, or is it like your own thing and you just like need to work on it? Or like is it
Sure.
very,
So for the
yeah.
undergraduates, you will have a course instructor that will be there to mentor and guide. For the postgraduate dissertation specifically, the dissertation, yes, you need a faculty mentor. And so it will be up to you to build that relationship. So when you get up to semester 3 or really the middle of semester 2, you can reach out to a faculty mentor and ask them to, to supervise and guide you in that process.
Okay, cool. Thanks for answering. I had another quick question. I don't know if this is the right time to ask. You can say absolutely no, that's fine. But you know how there's the option for the undergraduate students to do like summer school or like semester abroad or something. When I was enrolling myself to OP Jindal, that was like the catch. I was like, oh, I would get the semester or like at least 2 weeks to study abroad to do at least something. But I just got to know this morning while I was talking to like my administrative head, and she was like, "Oh, apparently you don't get to do it in your postgrad. Is that correct? And is there any
Yes.
chance you can
Well,
still
so
do
here's
it?"
the way this works is for student mobility, we have the short-term study abroad, which is usually 2 to 3 weeks, most often during the summer break. We also have what's called student mobility. That's a semester exchange or semester abroad for one full semester. The undergraduates can choose to do that anytime between semester 3 and 7. Postgraduates cannot do a semester abroad or semester exchange. It's a 2-year program. You have to be there every semester. We can't offload that to another university. It can only be done by our university. Okay. The short term study abroad could possibly be done, but it's going to be challenging because, again, you have to do an internship during your break, every break. You have 3. Each of those breaks, you have to complete an internship of at least 100 hours.
Yeah.
Now, if you can find a short term study abroad program, maybe you want to go to Italy for one. If the dates do not overlap and you can successfully do both, sure, we have no problems with that. You're more than welcome to. But you
Okay.
have to complete the internship. That's what comes first. That's what's required for your graduation.
Okay, so that's just gonna be me finding internship for myself and getting it approved from the school.
Well, I mean, it's not really by yourself. I mean, you're going to be working within the confines of the school, right? Again, there aren't as many internships available for the PG because, again, these are mental health internships where you're working alongside typically some sort of therapist, a counselor, a clinician, or somebody. Again, it's meant to be really involved. This is a training program. That's what this master's program is. We are training you to be a counselor. And
Yeah.
so, yes, it is time extensive, meaning you have to make yourself available even during the break in order to complete that. Okay. Now, that 100 hours, maybe you can complete it in 4 weeks, which means you have another 3 or 4 weeks free. So, again, if you could find a short term study abroad program that allows you to complete it in that period of time, again, there's no prohibition. That is entirely up to you. But for the master's program, the internship has to come first.
Okay, cool. Thanks for answering.
You're welcome.
I would like to add a
Please.
little bit in this. So for Aishwarya and for other PG students, so it's not like you don't have the option, but if you can balance, if you put in extra hours, clinical hours during your internship and finish your internship hours beforehand, you get an opportunity, and it should not conflict with the short-term study abroad program. But beyond this, I would also say that, this is a very specialized degree.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's preparing you for to be a practitioner or an academician, but at the same time, you can do both.
Yeah.
So in that case, you have to keep in mind that your curriculum is drafted in such a manner. And also in other countries, the accreditation and licensing body regulates the curriculum. So you will not get a license in other country, even if you go for a short term, and nobody would accept that.
Oh, that's true.
Okay.
That's definitely not the expectation. It was just like, yeah, I was very curious, and it was also for the exposure, but that's fine. Yeah, thanks for answering. I was really confused.
Yeah. Well, I think what you'll find again is we put a lot of thought and effort into this MSc program. Again, you will come out of that and you can be a counselor from day one.
Right.
I'm sure you looked at some of the other programs out there. There are one-year programs out there that don't really require much on the part of the student. That's not what we're trying to do here for our UG and our PG, right? We really expect our students to graduate having a very good understanding of psychology as a whole or of the field of counseling. And so again, we're pretty strict in terms of ensuring that is going to be possible. And just one more time with the curriculum of the MSc, again, there just wouldn't be any possibility of finding a program abroad that has exactly the same coursework in exactly the same order that we expect our students to complete it. So that just really is not an option available for the master's students, unfortunately.
That's okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there an advantage to going into semester one with an internship experience, Kushi? I wouldn't say there is an advantage. We have students come into the program from every stream, and that's okay. Everything that we want you to know, everything we want you to learn, we will teach you and train you. Now, if you want the personal experience of completing an internship, that's great. Again, I think all the experience that you can get would certainly be helpful and beneficial, but I'm not sure it would actually be a leg up. I don't know that it would provide any real benefit with respect to the academics per se. Sherry, here's for you, Manjushri. Is it possible to get hold of the reading list for the PG course beforehand so we could go over it?
So in the next 2nd July, you will be meeting with all the particularly faculty members who are teaching the semester one courses. Although you may not get the reading list at that point of time, but you will definitely get a broader overview of each of the courses, what it would entail. So reading some of the course names, popular books you could read, you will definitely get a reading list. You will get a course manual which is properly designed to tell you what assessments will be there and what reading material would be necessary, and you will get a copy of that reading material, which also will be provided to you, or you can access it from the library as well. So I will say that wait for the 2nd July immersion, and you will get an understanding of what you are going to experience in semester one.
Yeah. But I mean, that said, and this is true for any student, I mean, if you want to go online and find a psychology textbook or a counseling textbook and just start reviewing, sure. Again, a little extra knowledge is never a bad thing for sure. Would JGU provide mentorship, guidance, or opportunities to help students publish research papers that were initially completed during high school? Hasini, that's great. I'm glad that you did. That's a little bit of a complicated question, to be honest. It would be difficult for a faculty member to come in and give guidance on a completed research project because they weren't involved. So presumably, if you're doing something in high school, you have a mentor, a teacher, or somebody that you're working with. That would be the best person, I think, to work with. As you go forward from this point forward, of course, if you want to gain additional research experience, as we've already discussed, you could do the research with a faculty mentor. But it really comes down to specifically what you're asking. I mean, if you're asking, could a faculty member review a manuscript of mine? Perhaps. Once you get to know some of your course instructors, if you have a favorite and you want to reach out to them, you're certainly welcome to. But we don't have any official process in place. I think it's pretty rare for students to have a research project during their high school. At least it goes all the way to the point where they're contemplating publishing it. So that's great. Congratulations. But I think you would probably want to talk to one of your faculty course instructors as you go forward in time.
I just want to add a little bit.
Sure.
Hasini, you will get enough opportunities to not only attend even faculty talks, student presenting research. So, I mean, if you want to build on this work, and we don't know about the area, but if somebody is working similarly on a similar area, you could reach out to them and, talk to them about it, and maybe think about a future project. But like Professor Derek mentioned, that the first year is oftentimes a year, the first year and the first semester is all about adjustment. So, basically you're coming from a very structured life from your home to school, and now you're coming to a college, a hostel, where you will be the one who would be waking up, getting up. You will be you have to get yourself to the dining to have breakfast and then classes as well, and you have to take charge. So that is the independence that comes with a lot of responsibilities as well. In all of that, balancing and fulfilling all of your academic requirements while surviving and flourishing is very important. So the first semester is about navigating and understanding how you are managing these changes. And then definitely you can explore, there is enough and numerous opportunities for research or partnership with faculty members as well.
Great. The next question is from Jay. I'm not sure I understand it. Does JGU offer internship opportunities in schools through its tie-ups for the MSc counseling program? Do you want to answer that, Manjushri? Do you understand what's being asked?
So specifically,
Jay, if you're out there, you're welcome to clarify.
Would you like to add to your question?
Yeah, why don't Jay, if you're listening still, please add on and we'll come back to that. Iram says, if I do more internships, do I get more credits? Unfortunately, no. Again, you're doing that for your own experience, your own edification, but no, you get a maximum of 6 credits for internships.
You do get a well-rounded understanding of what fits with you, and you have a wide variety of exposure. It will definitely help you, but it doesn't add to the number of credits.
Yamini asks about timing. So for both UG and PG, again, the first class of the day is 9 a.m. The last class of the day is 7:50 to 9:50 p.m. So the last class ends at 9:50 at night. And all of you will have some combination of those. Again, it's a residential campus, so we have classes going on all day, every day. And we have I don't remember, it's like 3,700 courses are offered across the university. So again, there's lots of classes that are going on at every single time spot. I know for the UG, we'll be sharing, and the PG as well, but we'll be sharing the course schedule with you here shortly. Is the fee paid for the semester sent to the abroad university we choose to go in the undergraduate perspective?
I think,
Yeah, Kavya, again, I'm not sure I understand your question.
Derek, if I may take a shot
Sure.
at this one. I think it's so Kavya, there are different types of student mobility. There is semester abroad, and there is semester exchange. Semester exchange is a different kind of structure where the two universities already have a partnership, and there is a student who is coming in exchange for the student who goes from here. While semester abroad would be that the student who is selected, and it's not like, again, students' CGPA will matter in the selection of semester abroad and semester exchange programs. And the partnering university, if they accept your application, yes, then in semester abroad, the student will have to pay the fees for the university abroad. So therefore, the fee structure would be different for all of the student mobility programs.
Yeah, so the minimum credit requirement is true for, as she said, the student mobility, but also for the short-term study abroad as well. With the mobility, as she just said, if you do a semester abroad, basically the university said, sure, we'll take your student. They're an international student like any other, and they pay our fees. Semester exchange means we have 2 students go there, 2 of their students come here. So you may go to Hamburg, Germany, for instance, which is one of the places we have an exchange program, but you're still paying the JGU fee. So typically that's going to be much, much cheaper than what some of the overseas universities would charge for an international student. I think we're at the end of our list. All right. If there's any last minute questions, otherwise, thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, and last once more, Jay, if you can clarify your question, we can help answer your question as well.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
What I wanted to ask was that you said the internships has to be like counseling specific. So are we allowed to do internship in like high schools so that we can get a touch of child psychology? Because I am interested in that. That is what I was trying to ask.
Okay. So any of the spaces, so we have a couple of organization, and it can also be self-initiated. But see, remember in internships also, the master student will be supervised by a supervisor with similar credentials. If so, there are certain requirements. So I'm not specifying the requirements, but if your current self-initiated internship fits those requirements, and you will get that 100 hours supervised hours, then it would be accepted. Otherwise, if it doesn't fulfill, then it will not.
But Jay, just so you know, for the field work right now, and I expect this will be true next year as well, as part of the community program, we are working with several schools. So if you're interested in working with school kids or school children, you'll have that opportunity as part of your fieldwork training as well.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Derek, there is another question. Is there semester exchange program for BSc psychology?
Sure. The student mobility is for the undergraduates, BA or BSc. But again, there are minimum CGPA requirements for that, so you want to be sure. And again, guys, this is meant to be introductory. You will have a whole session on student mobility, so they can go through all this with you in much more detail then as well. And we had a hand raised.
Yeah, it's Madhavan. I'm father of. Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Madhavan, father of Nisaki. She has gone to a class, so I am attending the this one. So I am the one who raised the question on the semester exchange program
Okay.
for the BSc. Just want to know how does it work? I mean, is it that you go for a semester abroad, and how does the fee? Is it the fees for the other university, or is it the JGU fees that will be applicable? Not too sure about it.
Sure. So again, we have a semester abroad where you are paying the foreign universities' fees, whatever they charge for their international students, that would be the fee that you pay. Alternatively, we have semester exchange, and an exchange means just that. We are exchanging students between our institute and their institute. So you may go abroad, but you would still be paying the same JGU fee as any other student. Now, again, these are not guaranteed. Again, there is a CGPA requirement. You then have to apply. The foreign university reviews the applications, and they ultimately choose which students they are willing to accept and which they are not. We've had anywhere from 6 to 12 students do it most semesters. Those that have done it have really enjoyed it. And then there's a whole process of ensuring that they have the coursework that we want our students to master, etc. But it is a great opportunity for those that want foreign exposure.
Yeah, sorry. So you mentioned about the CGPA. I mean, what is the CGPA requirement?
6.0.
To qualify for okay,
6.0.
And it depends on the other university to choose the student they prefer, isn't it?
Correct. So essentially, the student would apply to go abroad, but we then submit those applications to the foreign university. They review them and they make the decision as to which students they will accept.
And typically, from which semester the semester exchange program will be? I mean, can be applied.
They can apply beginning for semester 3.
All right. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that.
And they can go up through semester 7. Obviously, they can't do it their final semester. So anytime between semester 3 and 7, they can do so. My recommendation that I always give is the third year is typically the best, because if you remember the curriculum that I showed you, the number of core courses drops each academic year. And so in year 3, you're only taking a few core courses and you have 3 electives. So the mapping, which is the term we use to say, if you have to take these 3 courses here, then when you go abroad, we want you to take those same 3 courses, right? It's much easier in the third year than it would be in the second year.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Kavya says we have to pay for both. Am I right? I think you're talking about the student mobility. And yes, again, it would just be whether you're paying JGU fee or the foreign institutes fees themselves. Well, that's been fun. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Well, I think we should, I will just remind everybody that 2nd of July, you will meet UG and PG faculty members who are teaching first semester, who will walk you through your first semester courses. Thereafter, you will have another talk where you will be interacting with, faculty members who would talk about student internships as well as student mobility. So please attend these talks and you can ask questions, specific questions regarding them as well.
All right, folks. Well, thank you very much for coming out. On behalf of both of us, we look forward to meeting with you in the fall. I hope you have a great summer. Stay cool. And I hope you have a good one. And I'll be back here next week. I'm teaching Intro to Psych, so I'll be here to talk to you about that as well. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the help, Zed.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, thank you so much, Professor
Thank you,
Majeshri.
Zed. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. All right. Bye, all.
Bye, Derek.
Bye-bye,
Have
sir.
a safe
Bye.
travels. Enjoy your
Yeah,
rest.
coming back tomorrow. Been a great trip, but oh, I need a vacation from this to recover. I am so tired. So
Did you visited Da Nang?
it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Loved it.
I told you before. It was amazing,
Yeah.
sir.
So really, it's been a great trip. Really, really enjoyed it. So we'll see you back on Monday.
See
Okay,
you.
sir. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.